Okay, everybody's got a fucking podcast. I mean, we have a podcast, so obviously anyone can do it.
Wait, this is a podcast?
Are you recording right now?
Technical difficulties.
No, you don't have to say anything. I'm going to edit it out.
Technical difficulties.
Okay.
I put mayonnaise on a pickle.
It was not the best, but it might have been the worst.
Do my feet? I mean, my feet stink, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing Breaking Bad.
Are you excited?
I mean, Breaking Bad is just a story about how Hal went from a lower middle class family to leaving that family and starting a new one, and then deciding he wants to make meth. Which is crazy because Hal started. That's his second life because before he was a fucking dentist in New York named Tim.
It's quite
So,
quite the character arc.
Yeah, he started off as a dentist, and he was like, "Nah, I got to get out of New York. Let me move to the Midwest and marry this lady who's just fucking batshit crazy at times, and be poor."
Yeah.
And he was like, next life,
Get cancer.
get cancer. You know,
Make meth.
living the dream, the American dream.
Well, that is one way to put it. Do you have is that your bad summary for this one?
Yeah, we'll go
Okay.
with that. That was before I had ever watched Breaking Bad. I always used to see it because I used to watch Malcolm in the Middle when I was younger a lot. Just looking like this fucking Malcolm's dad making meth.
Yeah. I did. So I had this written down to kind of review the bad summary thing, but I did kind of like form a little a quota for the episode, if you will,
Okay.
of like things we should hit. You know, because I feel, this is from me sitting around kind of like observing these episodes like after the fact, and going, what do I like about this, what do I like about that, and I think if we put in a couple fixtures and loose fixtures, a loose guideline, because we can go off and do whatever we want and joke about penises or whatever the fuck. But
That was the main goal anyway, was to joke about penises. I mean,
yeah,
Breaking Bad, that's just a slang for dick.
I mean, the goal of Content Crisis, when you really break it down, is to joke about penises.
Yeah, it's in our contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
in our contract, we have to mention penis at least 5 times every podcast or else we don't get paid.
we hit 3 already, so yeah, it'll be easy to hit the next 2. So anyway, I had this little explanation. I thought we were going to have a couple more people, possibly. But it's okay. It happens.
I'm looking at you, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Mark. Can't believe you turned us down.
Elon, come on. I was gonna buy a Tesla. No, I'm not.
Bryan Cranston.
What the fuck, bro?
What are you doing, man?
We were just texting the other day.
Aaron Paul?
Yeah, bitch.
Anna Gunn? No, let's not lie. I didn't want Anna Gunn. I know her and Skylar are separate, but I just couldn't have dealt with that. I'd be like, why is your character such a bitch?
I don't know, I'd kind of like to have the, I kind of want the energy that Tuco brings.
For sure.
Not to jump too far ahead, but like, I just see him in the episode. I always think about just his character in Training Day.
Yeah.
We said it to you. You ever had your shit pushed in, bro? Like, he always plays that fucking just like psycho fucking Hispanic, psycho Mexican guy.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah. He does. So anyway, so what I like to do is bad summary to start off, and then like a brief summary of, the program. So the bad summary I kind of based on like HBO Max's description of this is where I got the idea because HBO Max's description of when we watched The Matrix was terrible. If you know the plot of The Matrix, you know that this summary does not quite capture it. It says a computer hacker joins forces with rebel warriors to battle malevolent cyber intelligence. Now, like, kind of, but not really. I mean, you know, in a roundabout sort of way, that hits it. You know, but it makes it, but you hear that description, you don't think Matrix, right?
No.
At least that's not what I don't know. That's how I felt about it. So, bad summary. I think we've done it in some previous episodes, so I'm sorry if you've heard previous episodes and you're sitting here like, okay, I get it. So my bad summary for for Breaking Bad Season 1 is chemistry teacher reconnects with former student.
Yeah, okay. I'll take it.
As far as a real summary, this is what I kind of wrote up. I did not write in every last detail because it's just a brief summary. So, just so there's an idea of what happens. If you haven't watched the show in a while, I'll give you a general idea of what's going on here in Season 1. And it's no more than just like a short paragraph here. So, Season 1 introduces Walt and Jesse. Walt has cancer, a baby on the way, and a son with cerebral palsy, and he wants money to pay for treatment and leave money for his family. His solution is to make and sell crystal meth with former student Jesse. Jesse has his own set of problems, drug addiction amongst other things. After a bumpy ride on their first cook, Walt is drawn back in after his family convinces him to get cancer treatment. The problem with Walt cooking meth is, other than it being illegal, is the fact that his brother Hank is a DEA agent. They need a new distributor to sell after the death of Crazy 8. Tuco now becomes their biggest problem moving forward as he is insane.
Fucking insane.
I know that doesn't hit everything, but in so many words, it's the general idea of Season 1. So, after that, I kind of broke it into... we can do character stuff, kind of keep up with the character development, who these people are as we go through these episodes. I have, of course, have my notable quotables, and just our little plot pieces to, you know, crossroads or just updates on the plot as we move through this. I did condense my notes quite a bit. It will not seem like it, but I had 12 front and back pages, and I condensed it to 7 pages. Now that may seem long, but I still have the other one here. So
I still got like
both
12,
going on.
12 more pages.
You know, so really in total I got like 19, but a lot of it's mirrored. So it was hard to condense, and we'll work through it, you know? So let's just hop in. You know, I won't ask you about your notes because I have enough to go around.
Absolutely, because I don't have any notes because they're all up here.
Okay. So I have the Breaking Bad box set, which is a very fun thing to have. I love owning stuff. I can see special features, whatnot. So the 2 episodes they had commentary on for Season 1 was Episode 1 and Episode 6. Pretty much the 2 most important episodes of the season, I think you would agree, yeah?
Yeah.
So, just some of the facts. I'll spin them off real quick here. Let's not, dwell too long. Just some of the stuff from the commentary in the first episode. Shot in a real Albuquerque high school, the high school scenes. Dean Norris, this is just a note of my own. In the commentary, Dean Norris seems to be pretty much one with the character of Hank. Just a couple of fun facts about the shooting. When Walt's in an ambulance in that pilot episode. They're not in a real, like they're not driving down the road or anything. People are outside shaking the ambulance. So low budget. The theme is low budget in this first season here. I think they get more money as it goes along, obviously. But that is
they started making more meth.
Yeah.
All goes to the plot.
Mostly real DEA agents in that first bus scene. So that's cool. The doctor scene where he tells him he has cancer is it's shot in somebody's house. And when you know, there's a couple of these facts, like in episode 6, there's a real funny one that we'll get to when we do that. But that's just shot in a house, and when you know that, you watch it again, you're like, oh yeah, that's a home. That's not a doctor's office. RJ Mitty does have cerebral palsy, but not so bad that he uses crutches. For the scene with the fire trucks in the pilot episode, they only had 2 fire trucks, and they used the catering truck and editing to make it look like there were 3 trucks. The bully making fun of Walter Jr. in the clothes store. He was a kid in Malcolm in the Middle at one point. Apparently he was like not like a feature.
Okay.
Yeah, like just a side character for like an
I
episode.
was about to say, I'm like, hold on.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like Reese or something.
Fucking Dewey.
Yeah. Apparently you have to get sign off for like real tattoos to be shown on TV. It's like a copyright thing. They were talking about that because Emilio's tattoos were real, and they had to get sign off from the artist. So that's an interesting thing I did not know. And looks like
Wait, that's interesting because
what they said. I'm not.
Yeah, that's just interesting because it's like, does that mean would that technically mean that like my tattoo artist technically owns my arm?
Not he owns the arm, but like as far as like it being seen on a television show or whatever. Apparently,
I don't know. That's kind of maybe it's just the laws in certain states are that way. I don't know. That just seems kind of dumb because that's like.
Yeah, I mean, you paid for it, so
it's on your skin.
It's kind of weird, but that's what he said. So, looks like Walt was sweaty when he was putting out the fire, which I guess is kind of the intended effect. But they had to slather him with this like fireproof gel, so it kind of adds to the scene. But like legally, he had to be slathered in this stuff, so he looks all shiny when he's trying to like put out the fire outside the RV. And Crazy 8 was only supposed to be one episode. He was supposed to be killed in the back of the RV, but they liked the character, and so brought him back for the other, obviously, what you see him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all the fun stuff I got from episode 1 commentary. Yeah. So we will run over here. So, episode 1, we open up with the pants shot, right? Not to be a cunt right away.
Here we go.
But it doesn't make any sense, right? If the first thing you see is the pants falling down ahead of the RV, the pants hit the ground, and then the RV runs over it. How'd the pants get past the RV?
You got a point. Yeah, you got a point.
That one, since the first time I ever watched the show, I've thought about that. But,
like, did these pants get thrown forward?
Yeah,
somehow?
that's what I'm saying. Like, did they throw? And Vince Gilligan was saying like they just threw the pants up in the air and shot that as many just until they got it right. So that's fine. But yeah, I've always thought about that. Like, how's that make it? So not to be a cunt right away, but. All my notes have
kind of being a cunt right away.
My notes have letters, so I got Q's next to quotes. I got P next to plot. I'll have a W or WJ, Walter and Jesse dynamic. Quote plot, Walt character development. That's kind of what I'm working with here. Skylar, Jesse, Plot / Walt. You know, it's kind of what I got. Oh, and C's. C's are when I'm being a cunt.
I see you next Tuesday.
So, all right. So, if we get into Walt, right? We meet Walt. He's it's a day in the life. He goes to school, takes Walter Jr. Walter Jr. takes his bus home. He goes to his second job at a car wash. Asshole students at the car wash. It's a whole thing. He's on his way home. It's his 50th birthday. His glove compartment won't shut as he's about to come home. And it's like the perfect encapsulation of his life. Nothing quite goes right for Walt. It's always like, even later after his birthday happens, he can't, the hand job doesn't even go right. Birthday hand job. She's bidding on stuff and, pauses and goes, yes! And they're both like looking at each other like, what? So Walt's kind of the guy that gets like pushed around a little bit,
He's also like, things that, like, if you notice, they make him very much represented as a non-rememberable person.
Yeah.
So like, just by like the style, like the color, he wears very beige colored clothing for the most part, which is not just a recognizable color. The fucking vehicle he drives, a Pontiac Aztek, which is number one of the fucking ugliest vehicles Pontiac ever put out, because what the fuck? The design team who was working on the front of the car and the design team who was working on the back of the car never spoke until production. They were like, we'll make it work. Yeah. But it's a very forgettable car. You don't like, it never just catches your eye like, oh my god, is that a Pontiac Aztek? Who drives that? You're just like, you just continue about your day. Yeah. So they represent him very well as being a non-rememberable person, like very just he just doesn't leave an impression. Yeah. And that's, I think, a good representation of how his life is as of episode 1.
Yeah. You can almost relate him to, what's our main character's name in American Beauty? Whatever character Kevin Spacey plays, honey, don't be weird. Okay, honey, I won't be weird. And then, meeting the boss, like, it's okay. I wouldn't remember me either.
Yeah, pretty much of that.
So, yeah. Glove compartment won't shut. Perfect encapsulation of his life. Hand job doesn't go right. Really a good guy with all the right, intentions. Right? I mean, he even has good intentions when they first cook meth, Mm-hmm. He just wants to help his family out. He wants to leave them money. That's what it starts out as. Quote, real quick. I put it in late, and I meant to front load. It doesn't matter. I like when Walter Jr. says to the veggie bacon, "This smells like Band-Aids."
They smell like Band-Aids.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's...
So I don't really understand the family dynamic here either.
Yeah, it's a very...
So, Walt works 2 jobs. So, and this is what I mean, where nothing quite goes right in Walt's life. Nothing really makes sense. Everything's just kind of like him getting the shit out of the stick all the time. Is really what they portray. And what I feel like this first season really is watching Walt turn it around, like being tired of getting the shit end of the stick all the time, watching that character turn around. But this family dynamic, where you got Walter Jr., he's in high school. Now granted, he probably needs a little extra help having cerebral palsy. So sure. But at the same time, the kid's gone at school, and he's got Lewis, his friend, he goes and hangs out with the friends, he gets in trouble, whatever. he goes and does shit. So I don't think there's really any reason for Skylar to be the stay-at-home mom. You know? Skylar stays home and sells fucking antiques, I guess, on eBay.
Whatever the fuck she sells.
Like, pots and shit, whatever. Second job, she does nothing to help, on a budget, and yet they have a pool. Pools aren't cheap. Just kind of weird.
Yeah, but to be fair, it could have been at the house when they moved into the house.
Right, but that probably
Jacked up the price a little bit.
Yeah.
But and it's coming from someone who did live in, the South for a while.
You did?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people in the South just have pools. They just literally have it's almost just about any house that you buy, it's about a 75% chance it's going to have a pool. Because it's just a common thing. People just get pools, swimming, especially. I could see it even being more of a thing, in Arizona, where it's fucking Arizona and New Mexico, and that whole little region right there, Nevada.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, a lot of houses down the south have pools because you can use them almost year round.
Yeah.
Versus up here in Ohio, it's not that feasible to get an underground pool because you can only use it for about 4 months out of the year. Why most people just end up getting an above ground pool with that.
That's true. I'm just saying, pricey.
They could have sold the pool.
Situation. Or, downsize maybe.
Or maybe not we're not going to fill up the pool this year. It's a lot of water.
Right. Just an interesting dynamic family-wise that Skylar doesn't have some sort of job, and it's goofy.
Maybe.
Now, some of it might come from the fact that Walt is obviously very prideful, as we come to learn when people are offering to pay for his treatment, and he's turning it down, and so you go kind of like, what?
You don't have to cook meth.
Yeah, you have a perfect out. This old friend of yours is willing to pay for everything. And so it's a sense of pride. So I wonder if maybe at a certain point after Skylar had Walter Jr. way back when, then maybe he was like, no, you're my wife. You stay home. I'll provide. Maybe that's why he gets a second job. And I don't know. Something to think about.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
So then we have So Walt approaches Jesse after going on this ride along, and seeing Jesse fall off a roof and all that kind of shit. By the way,
while banging that one chick.
Yeah. not to be a cunt again, but they drive right by the car that says with the license plate Captain Cook, and they're looking for Captain Cook.
Yeah, and they didn't
No one put it together, and then when it's just Walt out there in the car, he sneaks out and gets away in the car that says Captain Cook. And it's like, wow, dude. Don't you think that... I don't know, it's still 2008, but don't you think it might pop up in a system somewhere? As far as the police computer?
I'm looking for Captain Cook. Oh, look, there's someone with the license plate that says Captain Cook.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You would also think that Jesse would be smart and at that point change his fucking plates.
Jesse, as far as kind of introing him, I mean, he is...
He's a character.
The areas where you find him... his strength is what you would call, street smart, right? So... It is funny that even then, with the license plate Captain Cook, and you go well, that doesn't seem very street smart. As far as not getting caught by police cooking crystal meth.
if I can profile Jesse for a moment.
Yeah, do it.
So Jesse, his character, it reminds me of, and it probably fits perfectly. But of the white person who does crack, meth, whatever, that also wants to be black. Him,
Yeah,
both
yeah.
him
That's pretty
and
obvious.
him and what's his one fucking friend name? I'm drawing a
What,
blank.
Badger?
Badger and
Skinny Pete?
and Skinny Pete.
Yeah.
Both of them also give that vibe, just because like their mannerisms and stuff like that. Of the
Skinny is... He's something, isn't he? Like, he has that little bit of a darker complexion.
I don't know.
He says essay when he's talking to Tuco. I don't know.
He could have just been saying that just because trying to relate to Tuco,
Maybe.
because they spent time together in jail.
Right.
But regardless, his character is like reminds me exactly what happens if you go to like a poor rundown like white town that has nowadays a fentanyl problem.
Yeah.
So you go anywhere at the fucking Ohio River, the borders, West Virginia, fucking Zanesville, any place like that, you'll find people who are like Jesse, who literally act like Jesse.
Yeah.
Like, okay. That's my profiling on him.
Yeah. So he talks to Jesse about cooking meth. They, they kind of agree. Walt gets these supplies, and he steals them from school, which turns out to be a problem a little later. But so what I wanted to discuss here is kind of the Walt-Jesse power dynamic. Like, Walt has a power over him for now. If I remember right, he kind of... Jesse kind of steps up from it a little later. As things progress. Kind of stands up to Walt later, but we won't discuss, later dynamics now. But at least right here, Walt is still... It's like he's the adult. Like, he still has that power of, I'm the adult in the room when he's talking to Jesse.
Still treats Jesse like a student.
Right. Or, yeah, just like a dumb kid. Yeah. And so it's interesting that, because time after time here, at least in season 1, it's, this talking to Jesse, like talking down to him, when Jesse's not doing, what he wants and he does something wrong, he still talks to him like a fucking shithead. So, anyway. So Walt gets out all the money he has in the world, and he gives it to Jesse. He tells him to go buy an RV. Now, this has probably the best, second best quote of the episode here, where, and the only time we say the name of the show in a sentence. Not even quite the name of the show, it's Breaking Bad, but the quote at the bank when he's asking him, like, why are you doing this? And all that. And he's like, money? There you go. And Jesse goes, nah, come on, man. Some straight like you, giant stick up his ass. All of a sudden at age, 60? He's just going to break bad?
When he said that, I was like, he said it.
He said it.
He said it.
How long did it take? What's the timestamp? Yeah. Yeah, he kind of said it. Only time the name of the show is mentioned. But there's a lot of variables here. This, to me, there's a lot of crossroads in this show of like where it could have gone really, really bad for Walt.
Oh yeah,
he's being very reckless at this time. Now, granted, he's found out that he's dying. Right. So what's it to him? It's like a very risky investment, kind of. When he just gives this meth head. Granted, I don't know that he knows the extent of, all of Jesse's issues just yet. I mean, he definitely doesn't. He just knows the guy cooks meth. He doesn't know he's kind of a junkie at the same time. But right here, Walt just gives this guy his life savings, basically. Right? So is this $6,500 is what they said? And look, for all he knows, Jesse could just
disappear,
run off. And the other variable is, Hank, when they're at the bust, and Walt's on the ride along, he's talking about their CI, their confidential informant. So Walt has no idea who that is. That could be fucking Jesse. That could go really wrong for Walt immediately if Jesse was the CI. He doesn't turn out to be. Actually, turns out to be Crazy 8.
Yeah, which is
really crazy when you think.
you look crazy.
And
eight.
But yeah, I mean that's so. But yeah, just taking risks. He wouldn't have taken obviously just a day earlier, right? And like the confrontation in the store as well with the kid making fun of Walter Jr. He wouldn't have done any of that.
Nope.
So the beginnings of change in Walt, obviously, and a big crossroads in the show. Like the show just could have ended right there. Alright, so then they get the RV, they go to the desert to cook. My next favorite quote of the show. My favorite quote of when I say the show, I just mean in the season because I gotta watch everything again before I start deciding things like that. My favorite quote, probably of this season though, is Jesse's up on top of the rocks looking around. And he goes, "Yeah, nothing but cows. Got some big cow house about 2 miles that way, but I don't see nobody." And Walt's like, "Cow house?" Like, "Yeah, where they live. The cows." Walt immediately is like, "Oh, fuck." The fuck did I do? Could have ended right there in the desert too, when Jesse goes and gets Crazy 8, and Crazy 8's ready to just shoot him. Like, I don't understand why villains are always like, I mean, it's plot. Plot gets on the trigger.
Yeah,
But just when Crazy 8 just could have shot him right there in the desert when they come to buy, and Emilio recognizes Walt from the bust and all that. No. Anyway, which is also really weird if you think Crazy 8 is the CI, the confidential informant, right? And to think Walt would be DEA. I mean, I guess he has to cover if Emilio's like, because obviously Emilio doesn't know that Crazy 8's the confidential informant.
The fact that he's the one who got Emilio in jail.
Yeah.
And
so that is an interesting thought that, like, he was about to kill Walt just to cover.
Even though he's seen Walt with DEA, so he would have been willing to kill a cop.
Yeah, if he really was, what Emilio thought he was.
And so that's interesting because then, like, now you lose all your credibility as a confidential informant.
Like, you just running around killing like fucking agents? Like, what are you doing?
I'm playing the part, man.
Gotta be credible, right? So yeah, that whole... And we're not going to go through every detail of every episode like this, but just going through episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
A little heavier, because it's very crucial, it being the pilot. If this, like the opening to this episode where they're just driving around in the RV and, you don't know what the fuck's happening. Walt's got a gas mask on. There's a guy, because you don't know Jesse yet. So there's just this guy in the passenger seat, like, passed out with the gas mask on, too. And you're like, what's going on with that? There's bodies laying around in the back of the RV. Pants are flying off the RV. This scene's so intense that physics don't even matter. If the opening scene to this pilot doesn't grab you, I don't think you have a pulse.
No, it's a very like, what the fuck is going on? Now I gotta watch.
It might be the best opening to a show ever. What's a better opening?
I can think of a better opening.
I mean, it's almost like that kind of clickbait thing, like where I guess it'll probably be the promo to this episode, right? So I mean, this is very meta right now. I'm discussing this being a promo, right? But you put that little thing out there for people to grab. I want to watch that, and then know,
They watch it.
Then they watch the boring shit to see the cool thing. Anyway. So basically the whole beginning scene is they put these holes in the show that you're filling in. Like, you know, they do this with the first and second episode here. So, because you're wondering the whole first episode, how do we get to this point? Because there's just this boring 50-year-old guy who teaches chemistry and works at a car wash, and he's got cancer. And you're like, well, why is he going to wear a gas mask in his underwear in the desert? And, you know, scene so intense that the pants are going the wrong way. Like, what's going on with this? And then, you know, here we are.
Finding out what's going on with it.
You know, crazy drug dealers. You know, he fucking poisons them with phosphine gas. You know, runs out of the trailer, gets shot at a little bit. He's fine. There's a fire in the desert because Emilio, who was not very nice, he came in there blowing cigarette smoke in his face in the lab. He's like, put it out. Flicks a cigarette out the window. Everything catches fire. He tries to put it out. Puts a mask on Jesse. Puts a mask on him. Drives away. Crashes it in a ditch. And then here we are, where the intro left off. He's got a gun. What the fuck was he going to do with the gun if it was a bunch of cops? And I wrote that, like, this is just like the suburban guy in Walt coming out. Like, just the white guy's never done anything wrong kind of deal. Like, exactly how I would feel in the situation of, like, you know, the white guy that's never had any trouble with the law. That's just like, he hears sirens and immediately assumes, like, they know everything. You know? He's sitting there with the gun and he's talking into the camera. Jesse has a camera. Who just carries around the video camera, by the way?
Especially to an illegal meth lab.
Right. Like Jesse. I mean, I guess maybe do that. I mean, I guess everybody didn't take videos on their phones yet.
I mean, it was 2008, so there was videos on phones, but it was very, 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 very
bad.
awful.
Yeah.
Very bad. Like, very,
It's
very
funny
bad.
to think you'd be walking around with just a video camera in your pocket. But yeah. Bitch and Walt comes out where he's just like, oh god, they know. He's ready to shoot the cops, and then he's like, oh, I'll try to kill myself. And that's a fucking crossroads in the show. He just ends it right there. If you were shooting the pilot, and like for whatever reason you just like found out, they're like, oh yeah, they're definitely not picking it up, and this is only gonna air once. It's just like, oh, well, we'll just, like, you know, it just turns into a short film, and it's like, oh, well, this guy just shoots himself right there. Like, it works. But of course, again, nothing in Walt's life goes right, and he can't get the, you know, thing to work.
You just imagine that, like, scenario, and you find out, like, oh, it's not being fucking picked up, and then so you fucking have a main character just blast himself.
Yeah.
And then... And
It just becomes a short film at that
And then the
point.
network comes back like, they loved it. We need 9 more episodes. And you're like...
Well, I kind of did this because you guys weren't going to pick it up.
Well, I just killed my main character.
Now it's like, I guess it just becomes more of a kind of a drama where Skylar and Walter Jr. and obviously like Hank and Marie are all just kind of left to figure out how everyone gets by now.
It'd be such a boring fucking
suck.
show.
They just be arguing about bills.
That'd be such a
You
fucking
have to move
boring
out of this
show.
house. I want to stay in my house. You know, just be a whole thing.
Ugh. And I just pictured you saying that in Skylar's voice too.
Yeah.
Fuck Skylar.
Yeah. And you know what's
Fuck
fucked up?
Skylar.
You know what's fucked up though? Is she's like the more I'm looking back on it, because you know the first time you watch the show,
You think
just-
Walt's good the whole show?
yeah, even in that, like, and that's the great writing of the show. It's the great concept of the show, of just this guy is bending all the morals and breaking them, really. Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
That was stupid. Sorry. Yeah. And you're always on his side. When really, you look back at the show and you go, Skylar, despite me hating her guts because she's a bitch, is absolutely right the whole time. Like, about everything.
So...
Morally. And you can get into moral gray areas, but...
My opinion of Skylar is Vince Gilligan did a great job this first season of really pitching that Walt was the guy that you like. Walt is the guy you want to root for. And pitching Skylar as being the person that you just fucking hate. Because season 1, even going back and watching it now, after already watching the series quite a few times, going back and watching season 1, I just fucking hate Skylar in season 1. She is fucking awful. Just like, fucking Marie. Oh my fucking God.
Marie makes me so angry.
Oh my fucking God. There was only, in the first season, there was only ever one time when I was like, you know what, Marie? I agree with you. I like what you just said. But like, most of the times she's talking, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, it's funny because Skylar, you think you don't like Skylar because she does something, right? You know, like here we're getting into episode 2 here. You kind of get a little intro into who Skylar is. I mean, you kind of see her a little bit in the first episode, but you know, we're really branching out, looking at the other characters as we get into the next episode. And you know, Jesse calls the house and is like, Gordon poses as like an AT&T guy because he's like, you gotta answer the phone, dude. Of course, Skylar, being the nosy bitch housewife she is, you know, she's got nothing but time but to look into all this shit. You know, it's really a wonder Walt goes so long without Skylar figuring out about any of this, you know? Because she's got nothing but time. But she's pretty justified in being angry. But she researches Jesse, finds whatever the fuck is it called, a My Shout page?
Which, a My Shout page, which obviously is supposed to be MySpace.
Right.
Fucking...
Yeah.
It was fun. My Shout. Then when she pulled up the page, I was like, Jesus Christ.
What the hell is a MILF?
What is a MILF? I was like, yeah, this is definitely all 2008.
Yeah.
This reminded me of middle school.
But, you know, looks into that, and fuck, I don't know where I was going with that now. But, just Skylar being annoying. Oh! That's right, because it turns into, you know, later, after Walt saying he sells me weed and all that, right? And, you know, she goes to confront Jesse as he's trying to pull Emilio's body out of the RV. How she did not see it. She's such a fucking... very blind, apparently.
And plus...
everything... Yeah.
That was such a fucking... As now in the year of 2022 that we have a word for it, that was such a fucking Karen thing to do. Like, literally, enter the fucking property, open the gate, and walk in to someone else's property.
And then, don't touch me!
Get the fuck off my property.
Yeah.
Right now. Get the fuck off my property.
Yeah, he's like, okay, not touching. Get out. You gotta leave. And it's just like...
I'm not leaving. My brother-in-law is a DEA agent. Like,
I'm Skylar White, yo.
Skylar
Walter
White,
White's
yo.
my husband,
yo.
I was like, oh, I hate you. Immediately. But, so she goes and does that. And you're like, yeah, I hate you. Right?
A lot.
I don't remember if it's later in the episode or if it's the next episode. I can't remember. I think it is the next episode. But they are talking about, you know, she's trying to, you know, roundabout ask about, you know, smoking weed and, you know, how it made her, you know, like, Marie, do you remember how that made you feel? And then Marie...
This is when you learn Marie's a fucking bitch, too.
Yeah, that Marie sucks more than Skylar.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, Walter Jr. smoking pot? And it's like, no one
said that.
Said anything.
No one said that. Where'd you get that from?
Quit. And that's women, too. where they're like, oh, there's dots to connect. And it's like, there's no dots to connect. Sometimes I'm literally just saying what I'm saying. Don't read between the lines. I wrote on them. There's nothing between the lines but space. That's it. But, woman thing. But that's when you find out Marie is even worse. Because then she goes and tells Hank, and that's a whole fucking thing. But like I said, you think you hate Skylar, and then Marie goes, and you're like, oh man, I'm glad Marie's not Walt's wife, because this show would be way more irritating.
Fucking Marie. Ugh.
Yeah.
God damn. She's just...
So Walt's guilt follows him into school. It's another Walt line. And then, in this episode, what mainly happens in episode 2 is Crazy 8 survived. And like I was saying earlier, like Crazy 8 wasn't supposed to survive. They wrote it in because the actor that played Crazy 8 was so good, they just loved the character, and so they went with it. Which is always so interesting about shows that they are, like, most of the time they're writing the shit as it goes along.
Mm-hmm.
Like they know kind of the outline of where things are supposed to go, but the fact that they are still like, oh, and we'll write this in, well, that's so fascinating to me, because, like, especially a show like this that is so well done, the fact that they're writing it week to week, stuff like Ozark, I mean, just
well,
wow.
and then you have what am I trying to say? You have a chance to correct any like plot holes.
Yeah.
Like in the same season, instead of like trying to correct like next season, Like the most notable one I can think of, I forget what season it was in, but whichever one where after, not to jump obviously too far ahead, but when Hank moves out of the house Walt moves out of the house and moves into his own apartment, he shows up with the pizza to his old house for Skylar and Walt Jr. And as Skylar and Walt get into an argument, he takes the pizza and he throws it up on the roof, and the whole pizza just flies up on the roof. And I guess apparently people in the area are talking about, like, so the pizza's not cut? Like, how was it a whole pizza inside the box and just flew up on the roof? And then there's a lot of buzz online, and then like a couple episodes later in that same season, it was in Jesse's like newer apartment, and they had a bunch of people over, and they were like, I think it was what's his name, Skinny, was like, hey, let's order some pizza from that place. They give it to you and you get to cut your own pizza because it's cheaper that way. Try and fill in that little plot.
Yeah.
That's the most notable one I could think of. But yeah, I remember reading about that. Apparently, a lot of people were commenting like, so the pizza wasn't cut? But to be fair, I have gotten some pizza that was cut that would probably hold up like that. You gotta take your own pizza cutter to it over their lines because they just went, gang.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, this is a shit cut.
Yeah. So, yeah, they have this set of problems. Crazy Eights survive. They have to dispose of Emilio's body so that no one knows. We've all been there.
Yeah. I was just there last week.
Wow. It's recent, man.
You wonder why Harley isn't here?
You didn't do it in your bathtub, right?
No, I'm smarter than that. I did it in his bathtub.
Okay. But, so they have to kill Crazy Eight. Which you would kind of think if they found the right containers. Also, okay, there's the container situation of episode 2. Not to dwell on things for too long. But don't you think you could, like, I don't know, the solution that Walt thinks of sawing Emilio in half and putting them in 2 containers, it's a little gruesome from a practical sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already killed the guy, you're already going to dissolve him.
What's cut him in half?
What's cutting him in half? Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself.
The body's already going to be gone.
It might scar you a little bit.
So is dissolving a body.
So is dissolving him. And what really scarred you was trying to dissolve him in the tub as he splashes in the ceiling. That is incredible.
Can you imagine how traumatizing that would be? Just the fucking torso that has fucking dissolved.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. But couldn't you, if you don't want to saw anybody in half, in theory, couldn't you put, how Jesse was in the container in the store, which of course Jesse gets stuck in a container in the store, which is funny. But if you think about the way he's laying in there, don't you think you could go ahead and start the dissolving process?
And slowly kind of fold him in there.
Yeah, and then when, room is created, you kind of...
Fold him in there.
Yeah.
You would think.
But then you don't have the scene of falling through the ceiling.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I wonder what they used for that scene.
Yeah. I mean, they had...
Plot twist, it was a real body.
That actor's missing. Where the hell is he?
What happened to that guy? I haven't heard from him since. I heard he got out of the acting game. Too much.
Got out of the life game.
Sometimes that's the best option.
Crazy 8 gets the essentials. They're feeding him or whatever. Walt is sitting around trying to think of how he's going to kill him. He tries Jesse's weed. Jesse gets home very disappointed to find out Walt is smoking his weed. He's like, Mr. White. He's like, wait, is that my weed? Well, make yourself at home, why don't you? I was like, well, yeah, whose weed did you think it was? Do you think this guy is just like, I won't smoke Jesse's weed. I'm going to go out and buy some weed. This guy doesn't even know where to get weed. Like, duh.
Fucking watching him try and roll up a joint.
Yeah,
that shit was fucking hilarious. Like, what the fuck?
I don't even know how you would roll a joint, so I'm pretty fucking lame. And here I am talking about Breaking Bad.
God, you're just trying to break good.
That's all I'm trying to do.
I'm just trying to break even on my pills.
Yeah, pretty much. And I just love how Jesse gets caught up on the coin flip. It's like, as Walt's leaving, he's like, I gotta go. He's like, we flipped a coin. We flipped a coin. And, in the doctor's office, the ultrasound, find out it's a girl. Very important to the plot. Well, not that it's a girl, but this scene is very important to the plot.
If it was a boy, he would have never made meth.
Never made meth.
Never made meth.
The scene's very important to the plot, though, because this is, again, another crossroads of, hasn't told any of his family that he has cancer yet.
Nope.
Jesse doesn't know. No one in his life knows except him and the doctor. And she's saying, who's Jesse Pinkman? Asked him about that. And this is you think, oh, hey, maybe he's going to come clean here. Oh, no. It's, and again, because he smoked weed that day, and this is what I get to here later, but it feels like he kind of justifies all of his lying because he sprinkles bits of truth into things.
That's fair. It's a good logic. I like it.
Well, I wouldn't suggest it as a way to live your life, but
you're telling the truth.
Yeah, I guess.
He never said he was. He never said he wasn't cooking meth.
He never said I didn't kill a guy.
He never said, "Hey, I'm not cooking crystal."
I'm not cooking
He
crystal.
never said, "I'm not."
I've not murdered anyone.
He was also never asked either. So, like, if you were never asked and you just don't say anything, it's not lying. You just didn't talk about it.
It's true. So
I mean, it'd be different if Skylar was like, "Walt, are you cooking crystal?" And he would have been like, "What? No, that's a lie. He's in the wrong now."
That's a lie. But if you never get past what? Later you could just be like, "Oh, I just didn't hear you." Are you cooking crystal?
What?
What? Are you cooking crystal?
Do I? Yeah, Crystal from high school. I remember her. Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
she was
no,
alright.
I'm not fucking Crystal.
Not fucking Crystal.
What are you talking about? As long as you beat around the bush.
No,
good.
are you cooking Crystal?
I would not cook Crystal. She's a person. That would be inhumane.
I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's cannibalism.
You said you bought some crystals?
Great, honey.
Okay, great.
I gotta go.
Like,
I gotta go.
I'm gonna be late for something.
Yeah. I gotta go cook.
I got a date.
Stuff.
I got a date with Crystal. I mean, books.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite quotes of Walt. Of just like, can you crawl down out of my ass for once? Can you just crawl out of my ass? Yeah, and then obviously we covered it. Hate the Skylar Jesse interaction. And then when Walt gets there to Jesse's house later, like, why'd you go and tell her I was selling you weed? Walt says, because somehow it seemed preferable to admitting that I cooked crystal meth and killed a man. Got a good point. Got a pretty good point. So the ending to episode 2 is great because they're sitting there in the kitchen, and he's like, "I did the thing." He's like, "And by the way, why you got me running all over town looking for a plastic container when I got a perfectly good bathtub?" And he's like, "You didn't." And he's walking in the hall, and Jesse's about to keep going, and he's like, "Oh, whoa, whoa!" You see drops coming from the ceiling, and then just that
perfect timing.
Yeah.
A little bit of plot timing.
Yeah.
There's some plot mixed in with them chemicals.
Almost like it was meant to be.
Yeah. Crazy, huh?
Perfect chemistry. Yeah. I gotta stop pausing. It's stupid. None of these jokes are gonna land. And it's it's the callback to earlier in the episode where he's like, he's talking to Jesse about because he's trying to justify. He's like, I don't want to kill. Walt doesn't want to kill a guy. And so he's like, does he have homicidal tendencies? Can he be reasoned with? And Jesse's like, well, he tried to kill us, so there's that. And then at the end of the episode, where, it falls to the ceiling, and then he goes, oh, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, I get a plastic container because, hydrofluoric acid eats through metals, porcelain, yada, yada, yada. And then he looks at him and he's like, so there's that. I'll have a good callback. And so then in season 3, a little bit of plot, a little bit of Walt examination here. We open up on Walt and Jesse cleaning up the
mess.
Raspberry slushy version of
it looks like
Emilio. As
fair.
Jesse puts it here in a couple episodes. And he's replaying this scene of him and Gretchen, which you find out it's Gretchen. You have no fucking clue who it is, prior, and then you find out later, oh, that's who that lady is in the flashback. I'm not sure what he is in this scenario, if they're both just students alone in this classroom, or if Walt is a professor at this point. I don't know what the hell's going on, and they don't really go into it. So I'm unsure. But if we get into the scene here, they're breaking down what makes up a human. A human is blank percent this, blank percent that, and they keep going through it, and it's really him. Because we're looking at a human. Decomposed.
You're literally just splattered.
And, we're looking at the bones. We're looking at, like a
stuff.
jaw. We're looking at, excuse me.
A bunch of stuff that I can't see on myself.
Right. That you shouldn't be able to see.
I'd like to make a little point out to on that flashback.
Yeah.
That one thing I noticed was that they had him. I assume they had him grow his hair out. That was actual hair, but they gave him the same hairstyle as what Tim Whatley had in Seinfeld when he first got introduced to the series. I just I noticed like when it went to that flashback, I looked and I was like, yeah, that's fucking Tim.
Yeah.
That's Tim Watley, just right away.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, it's all starting to make sense now.
It's all tied together.
It's all making sense now. Fuck is Seinfeld at?
So this is him really reasoning with the morality of what he's just done here. And it kind of concludes the end of the episode, and we'll get there. But yeah, as he's faced with the, literally looking at the makeup of this human being, he's going through all of this. And this episode is entirely about Walt stepping over that next line of morality. He eventually has to murder Crazy 8. All episode long, Crazy 8 telling him he can't kill him. This line of work doesn't suit you, is what Crazy 8 says a couple times. Walt resents it. You can kind of see it in Walt's face where Walt's like...
You don't fucking know me.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's you don't know me, but he also... There's kind of that thing of like, he doesn't like that he's kind of right. And again, Walt is... gone from this place of people telling him what he is, what he can do, what he can't do. And, this is him in the worst way, stepping through that, turning his life around in the worst way.
In the worst way. But yet we love it.
Eventually the threat by Crazy 8, because he's got the shard of plate,
He said, no.
Yeah, why are you doing this?
Definitely the guy who played Crazy 8, definitely. He sold that part.
Mm-hmm.
He sold that part.
Yeah, I can see why they were like, no, you got to stay a couple more episodes.
Yeah, we got you. Couple more episodes. We'll give you a couple extra pennies.
Oh, yeah. And the Marie thing is in this episode. Is in episode 3, because here we are. Marie is even nosier and bitchier than Skylar, Walter Jr. Pop thing. That's the note. So, and I because we can't dwell on every last thing from every episode, I kind of shortened this one a little bit. But basically what happens is Walt is bringing Crazy 8 another sandwich on a plate. And, he has one of his coughing fits at the bottom of the stairs, falls down, passes out, and the plate breaks. I did watch it a couple times. I did not see Crazy 8 grab a plate shard, so however it worked, I don't know if one slid over there and he noticed it later. But I was thinking that I might be able to see, maybe him grabbing it or something. I didn't see anything. Maybe there's something I missed.
So it looks.
He stands up, but
he stands up and he stands up. You can see him kind of
he grabs this because I watched it a couple times. He grabs this, so he hasn't grabbed anything.
But what he could have done if it flew far enough, he could have took his foot and dragged it to him.
Right. I would just think it would be the sound of that. I would think you'd hear. I thought it would be very obvious.
That might have been.
Maybe he notices it later.
That might have been what.
A shard close to him.
What Vince Gilligan was going for was the idea of we don't know that he has that that plate.
Right.
To really sell us on the he's just trying him and Walter are just bonding. And he's he's going to get out and
And you believe it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they sold that scene very well, yeah.
But it's a little bit of plot, but also if real life for someone to be
plate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plot.
Plate plot.
Plate
tomato
plot.
tomato.
It's literally plate plot. For someone to be like, let me play puzzle with this plate real quick.
But that's just Walt, and that's the kind of guy they've taught you Walt is he's he's just got that mind where he thinks about everything, which is funny that in episode 6, I won't jump ahead yet.
I would have never thought to do that. Never.
The Crazy 8 would have shanked me right in the
Absolutely.
face, and I'd be done.
Yep.
Dead. I'd be so dead.
Dead. I probably would have been dead in the first episode, so. We're going a little callback to that. I was going to ask you, in the events that played in the first episode, is that enough to make you never want to cook meth again?
Oh yeah.
To like just be like, you know what? We're gonna be poor.
I'm out.
We're gonna be poor. You guys are gonna have to suffer.
And then when Elliot and Gretchen offer to pay for treatment, I'm
Yep.
going, yep. You are rich. I'm very poor. I have no pride. You know what? Pay for it again. I don't care.
You know what? Pay for it twice.
Can I have some more money too? I really
have nothing.
I have no pride. I have no
I'm
money.
literally a school teacher. It's 2008. So
I'm taking that job all the way. In fact, I will take the job, and Ken, you will still pay for the treatment.
I am a school teacher in 2008, so I make $31,000 a year.
Yeah. Right. So, anyway, all of that happens. And Walt has the whole thought of, yes, let's put the plate together, yada, yada, yada. I feel the change in Walt is really represented because he crosses a line. He's not all the way dark side, whatever you want to call it. What was this fucking Star Wars? But you know what I mean.
Good.
He's not all the way. I wouldn't say he's a psychopath yet, but there's a change here. And it's really, I feel like what was really representative of this fact was there's that scene when he comes down there. He's put the plate together, the piece is missing. He knows what's going on. He knows he's going to go down there and kill him. And he just opens the basement door, and it's just black. And you just see Walt's silhouette. You don't see his face or anything. The door just slowly creaks open, hits the wall, and it's just Walt standing there, just dark. And I just thought that was like, okay, that's the change. Here we are. Walt's about to be a killer. Here we go. I liked it. I liked it a lot. However, he still apologizes after he strangles him to death. Cunt note. Wouldn't you think Walt would have thought of a better way to kill Crazy 8 without getting that close and getting stabbed? Putting the foot up on the pole.
He did a great job avoiding it there for a good, 30 seconds.
Yeah, you just got to keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it might take a little longer to... You need a little leverage. I understand. You're trying to crush a windpipe. We've all been there.
Yeah.
But my thought was, fuck, just expose this guy to some more phosphine gas and, finish him off. You don't have to stab this guy or choke him or shoot him, whatever the fuck you're thinking of doing,
Or you could have, he doesn't have much leverage to move with his neck being tied to a fucking support beam. You could just grab his fucking arm when it swings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might nick you in the arm or something, but then you have a chance to fucking be able to grab his hand and maybe get him to release the fucking plate, and then
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, I'm just gonna let him fucking swing and go in a fucking circle.
Yeah.
Until he.
I'd have wait till he's sleeping. Maybe try to choke him. I don't know. Or hit him in the head. I don't know. It seems like a weird thing to get hung up on. Like, I could have killed him better.
I could have killed him better than you, Walt.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if that's what we should be proud of. So Walt calls off the next day, and of course the kids watch a video on carbon, which is significant to the episode. When they're talking about the makeup of humans and yada yada. And he walks in the house. Skylar's crying because they had a whole conversation the previous night.
Wherever you're at, just stay there for the night or some shit like that.
Yeah. And so he says, Skylar, I have something I need to tell you. Episode ends right there. Obviously, he's like, I got cancer. Skylar's like,
he's cheating on me.
Yeah. Cheating on you with cancer. So, episode 5, everybody figures out... Wait, episode 5. I think I wrote that wrong.
Episode 4. Episode 4.
Wow, that's weird. Still got a lot of notes. So... Yeah, episode 4, everyone finds out Walt has cancer. Sunday night cookout. Comparison of Walt and Jesse's Sunday nights here. Walt's together with family. They're kind of like having a little get together. It's it's a happy. Whereas Jesse really doesn't have anybody. He's got these friends that are over at his house, but they're all going to leave if Jesse doesn't share
drugs,
meth with them. Yeah, and so
my kind of crowd right there.
But really, you're kind of looking at the comparison of the two people, and Jesse doesn't have anybody, and it's even kind of gone into a little bit later here when he goes back to his house. So anyway, Marie hooks Walt up with this the best, what was it, oncologist or some shit like that. No, I don't know if that makes sense. Whatever the cancer doctor was.
Oncologist, yeah.
Okay. Apparently this real expensive guy. And, I said maybe season 1's bad summary should have been that healthcare is too expensive.
I think that's
just a statement, yeah.
It's a bad summary, but also kind of a good summary of the whole series, because, like, if it wasn't for bad healthcare, he would have never started making meth. If he had excellent healthcare, if the episode would have been like, you got cancer. Like, okay. Well, good thing I have good health insurance and life insurance.
Yes, it is.
That's it.
Created by Vince Gilligan.
That's the end of the fucking series. Like, he would never been like, oh man, I got good health insurance. I should make meth.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried about that fucking car wash. I'm gonna make some meth. Yeah, so we have okay, so we're letting into Jesse's backstory a little bit. He's all strung out, he's paranoid. He thinks some door-to-door evangelists are these bad motorcycle dudes that are coming to kill him. We've all been there.
I was high on cocaine one time. PCP and cocaine, yep.
Wow. So,
I'm high on PCP right now.
Oh, nice. He runs out the back door of his own house. The dude's just like, okay. It's just funny when you see the reality of what the situation is. And he sneaks over to his parents' house. And so you're let in a little bit. He had all he needed, really, to succeed. And his little brother, Jake, is succeeding. All he really had to do was, stay in the lines.
Put in the effort.
Yeah, stay in the lines, the rules, follow the parents' rules, and he just can't do it. Jesse's not a bad guy, but he's still the black sheep, and you feel bad, but also not. I mean, the black sheep never wants to be the black sheep, but also you think, like, this is all you're doing. I mean, if you're talking to Jesse, like, it's all you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. How the fuck old is Jake supposed to be? I mean, he's supposed to be in, like, middle school. He looks 8.
He
just looks like such a little kid, but I don't know. I guess when you're in middle school, like, you always think, like, everybody looks like whatever age you are, you think, like, oh, we all look old. And then you see the next, like, middle school class, you're like, wow, you look like little pipsqueaks. Like, what's going on? So I think that's just a perception of, whatever class you're in or whatever.
I don't know. You ever seen, like, pictures of, like, high schoolers from, like, the 90s and even the early 2000s, and then, like, you're like, God, these are fucking grown-ass adults, and you look at pictures of, like, high school when you were in high school, and you're like, why the fuck do we look 12? And people in high school in the 90s and the 2000s had fucking they had your beards and freshmen.
Yeah.
Facial hair like you as a freshman and stuff like that. And then, like, you get in high school and just, like, everyone, you're like, were we just children?
No.
The fuck happened? What were they putting in their water? Because we need that.
Or we don't. Maybe we're just aging slower.
Maybe we're aging backwards. Benjamin Button.
No, I'm definitely not aging backwards.
You sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. You look about 12 right now.
That's hot. All right.
Maybe for a pedophile.
And here we are, another crossroads of the show. Walt swallows his pride, either takes the job at Elliot's company or lets Elliot and Gretchen pay for the treatment. He doesn't have to do any of this meth stuff. His family doesn't have to be broken up later. It's, we don't go as far as we do. So anyway, Jesse tries to cook on his own. This doesn't go well. Badger's funny, but a little far for Jesse to throw the meth away. If we just talk about some of the desert stuff going on, he's just like, nah, it's for our customers, and then he proceeds to throw it out on the ground. And Badger's like, I want to smoke that. It's like, all right, well, if you're not going to sell it, maybe I'm thinking like a cheap ass here because I am one. If I'm just thinking of like food, right? Granted, meth's not food. But if Badger's going to buy meth or smoke meth, whatever, you might as well just let him smoke the shit. And then by the time you get the pure product, of course, that's what they get in a fight about. So that's a whole thing.
Badger the whole time was just fucking... He reminded me of the...
You?
No, not me.
I feel like you could do that shit, though, where you're like, like messing with shit.
He reminded me of like whenever in school you had a group project and there was always that one kid in the group that did absolutely fucking nothing but play around. He reminded me of that kid.
Yeah. That wasn't you?
That was not me.
Okay.
I always did stuff. I was never the workhorse, but I did stuff. I contributed. And there was always that one kid that'd just be like, okay, yeah, you guys got it. Or like, more famously,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Badger was definitely not head down kid, but he was definitely fucking with all this shit, making everything harder. All right. So, don't know what did I say. Oh, I said I don't know who I think is. Oh, I love when Jesse tells Badger that the bullet holes are for ventilation. That's all in that scene. Don't know who I think is right in the intervention scene. I just know I didn't like Skylar. And I said, Hank is a gem of a character. I half expected him to, like, talk into the talking pillow. That would have been funny. He's like, all right, so Walt's like, no, Hank, it's not a microphone. I don't know.
This is the scene that I referenced earlier where it's the one time in the whole season that I was like, I agree with you, Marie. I agree.
Yeah.
So watching this is the first time I've watched the first season in a while. Watching this first season after going through where, had dealing with a parent who was, diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I have a little bit of a different, like, perspective on it now, like, watching. I'm just like, okay, especially fucking Skylar. I feel as if Skylar was being just 100% selfish. Because she was like, well, what about me? What about me? And I'm like, yes, okay. I get it. Absolutely, it affects you. That's your husband. That's the father for your child and your unborn child. But, like, at the end of the day, when Walt passes, you'll still be alive. You still have your life. Walt is the one who this cancer affects the absolute most. So, absolutely, this is where, I agree with Marie, where it's like, let him make the decision what he wants to do. Because at the end of the day, it's his battle 100% all the time.
Well, and it's like they're saying, like they're giving him these time frames, and they're saying it can get a little better with treatment, but like Walt's saying, at the end of the day, it's only a matter of time. Like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Even if they get this thing in remission, it's bad enough, it's inoperable. Like, he's going to die. And so, Like, Skylar can't see Pat. Like, he's like, I don't want to leave you with the debt. Like, you dumb bitch. Like, what aren't you seeing here?
I don't want to leave you with the debt because it's going to be, this may extend my life maybe by a year.
Right.
Like, why would I want to throw us into that much debt to extend my life by a year? And also, even if my life gets extended by the year, the poorest quality of life. One of the, like, a very poor quality of life.
Yeah.
Like, and just like in the show, with, what is it? I mean, the next few episodes leading up towards the end of the season, they literally do a very good job of depicting what happens as side effects with chemo. Like, they do a very, like, all that, like, happens. It's not a fun, pretty process at all whatsoever. You're throwing up all the time, stomach problems, the peeing out blood because you have, it's affecting your bladder, your kidneys, the loss of hair, which I would like to point out that, I don't know if you noticed, but, like, from when he started chemo in that one episode,
Yeah.
like, after that treatment, when I guess it went to, like, a couple of days later or whatever, as, like, the few days went on, like, it looked like they were slowly trimming his hair to make it look a little more thin until the episode.
They were talking about in the episode 6 commentary where they were like, oh, we're going to hack a little bit out of that. They would hack a little more. And actually in the season 6, they were saying they had footage of Walt shaving his head. They just filmed it, and it was like Vince Gilligan was like, it was a great scene, like, we loved it, but it's a show on TV after all, and so they just, for time, they just cut it. And so I think on the DVD there was you could see the footage of Walt. It was a deleted scene of Walt just shaving his head.
Yeah, that's something I noticed when I was watching. It was like his hair was getting thinner and thinner. I was like, that's a nice little touch. Like, you have to really be watching for.
Yeah, and you had to be granted, you might have noticed this, you might not have. And now we're jumping to episode 6, but it's fine. We'll just skip over this when we get to episode 6. In the scene where Hank questions him about the lab equipment in episode 6, and when he throws up in the bathroom right before Hank questions him, it's a wig. Because he had already shaved his head, they went back and shot some scenes. So, wears a wig when he throws up, and then Hank questions him. He's got a wig on. But then, like, apparently, like, different parts of the scene, like when they're actually in the area where, Hank's going through the list and everything, when he's on the phone, that was shot, and that is his real hair. But when he's in the classroom, Hank comes in and says, she's got an ass like an onion, makes me want to cry.
Makes me want to cry.
That's a wig. When they're in the closet, his hair. So, yeah. It's interesting. They were talking about the commentary.
I'd like to point out in that scene with the, when they're in the closet, and, he's going through the inventory list. Okay. You don't really have an excuse for the missing masks.
Yeah.
But, like, the easiest excuse for the glassware is...
It broke.
It broke.
Yeah.
Or, like, it could literally just be like, I got into one of my really bad coughing fits and I fell. Like, and I took out some glass. I forgot, I haven't updated my inventory yet.
If you haven't heard, I have cancer.
Yeah, I have cancer.
Dude, I would milk cancer so much if I had it. I'd just be like, yeah, I don't know if you heard I had cancer. It's like, yeah, why'd you rob that bank? I have cancer!
Logic. I was like,
alright, why'd you shoot that person's dog? It's like, I have cancer. All right, but you can't be stealing M&Ms from the store. I have cancer.
But I started, I'm like, that would be like the most easiest excuse. Like, yeah,
You spat in my drink. I have cancer.
I was in here and I got into a coughing fit. I fell and I took out some glasses. I haven't took them out of inventory yet.
Yeah, my bad.
The
That's on me.
The masks, I don't
know what happened.
I don't know what happened to them.
Some kids must have snuck off with them in after class one day. I don't know.
Must have left them out one day or something.
Yeah.
They're right there, boom. So then all of a sudden you don't have to worry about any of the beakers, any of the glassware, none of that like being a question. But like, okay,
Yeah.
seems logistic. But going back to the intervention, yes, fuck Skylar.
Fuck Skylar.
Fuck Skylar. Because she is so fucking selfish in that intervention.
And really to have an intervention for someone who's just, for the first time, really making, like, and as he says, like, it's the first time I feel like I'm making a choice, but everything's been decided for me. I'm making a decision about my life. And then for her to go, well, we're having an intervention because you're not thinking right. It's like, I think for the first time, he is actually thinking.
And that's,
he's just gone along with whatever.
That's what's crazy. So you're gonna hold an intervention because you don't like the way someone's acting after they've been diagnosed with cancer, with not understanding the fact that they were just diagnosed with cancer. So they're probably going to be a little weird for a little bit because they're trying to come to terms with, well, fuck, I'm going to die soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're probably going to be. If you told me, if I got told today that I was diagnosed with cancer and I had maybe a year to live, absolutely, I would act a little weird for the next couple of days, maybe next couple of weeks.
Probably for the next year till I die of cancer.
At least no doubt for the next week. I'm gonna be pretty fucking weird because I'm like, okay, I might act irrationally. All right, well, fine.
Yeah.
It's very irrational to be like, okay, well, this person's acting weird. They should be their complete 100% normal self with cancer.
Yeah, you have to get treatment. Be rational.
Be rational. You have to get treatment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking Skylar.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marie though, because she said the point of a fucking intervention is to tell them how you feel, and then Skylar
you're just telling him what to do.
Skylar's telling him what to do, and then Marie's like, "Well, this is how I feel about it." Skylar's like, "How could you do this to me?"
Yeah.
I'm just telling him this is what it's about. No, how could you come here and tell him that? I'm like, Skylar.
Then leave.
Skylar, fuck you.
Like, maybe he wants to die like a man. She goes, I don't want him to die at all.
He's going to die.
It's like, well, are you not listening to the doctors? They're literally saying, like,
he's going to die.
Look, one way or another,
he's going to die.
This guy's going to die very soon.
Yes.
All you're doing is extending. Yeah. Yeah. It's a rough scene. It's very well executed scene.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Walter Jr., I'm not. That's a hard dynamic too, because you're sitting there like, well, I don't know anybody's plight with cerebral palsy, but I don't know. I didn't like the way that. And granted, it's how Walter Jr. felt, so whatever. But the way he's like, you're afraid of a little chemo, and like, I just don't. Maybe Walter Jr. gets it from his mom. I don't know where I'm going with this, really. It was a
shit on Walter Jr. speech?
Not a shit on Walter Jr.
Because I really like
felt how he felt.
I enjoy shitting on him later on in the season. Or later on in the series. Because, yeah, he gets on my fucking nerves later on in the series. Only for, about one season, he was really on my fucking nerves. And then...
I don't know, it was just, he was shit talking his dad, and with the whole I don't know if it was this episode or the previous episode where he's thinking I don't think I'm gonna do the treatment, and he's like, well, why don't you just fucking die already?
Why don't you just fucking die already? I was like,
okay.
I was like, what?
That's a little much.
Why don't you fucking die already? And I'm like,
God
Jesus.
Damn, dude, fuck. So, I don't know. The way he's, shit-talking his dad, and he's like, you're afraid of a little chemo and all this shit. And it's like, all right, well, hey, man.
It's not a little chemo.
It's a big chemo.
It's a big chemo.
It's a big chemo.
Fucking big chemo. It's a fucking radioactive chemicals being dumped into your fucking bloodstream.
Not to, shit on a plight of cerebral palsy, but, I'm guessing the chemo's a little worse. I haven't experienced either, and I don't want to speak anything into either of them, but just from the outside looking in,
chemo. Yeah,
it seems like the chemo would be worse, But
why don't you fucking die already? Jesus, dude.
Yeah, like I said, half expected Hank to just talk into the talking pillow like a microphone. I don't know. I just the way his character is. I wish I could do the loud finger and mouth whistle. And
Me too. I just.
And the
never...
episode ending, it's fantastic. Want to cook? Like Jesse's kind of mad, like kind of sitting there. What the fuck is this guy doing here? You know, you see it in his face, and he's just like, "Want to cook?" Great. Man, it's such a great show. All right, so episode 6, just some of the commentary facts. This is the other one they did commentary. We'll just roll through them real quick. So when Walt leaves the classroom in episode 6 to go throw up, he's teaching and he's like talking about mercury fulminate mercury, whatever the fuck it was. He's talking about explosions, trying to teach him, and then he's like, okay, read on your own. And he walks out of the classroom, and he goes and throws up. So the scene they show. All right, so this is what they said in the commentary. Vince Gilligan said they shot this scene of him puking. They had a shot of him puking, and he's basically like throwing up into the camera lens, and it was really graphic and all this, and they were gonna use it. But then they decided like it was a little too graphic. Like the network didn't tell them anything, but they were like, this is a little gross. Let's opt for something else, right? So apparently, and you'll never watch this again. Like go home and watch it. You'll never watch this scene the same again. Excuse me. You know how he's like grabbing the side of the stall there, and he's standing and throwing up? So they edited the sounds of him puking in there. Apparently, what that scene was originally, when he's grabbing the stall door and everything, is after the doctor tells him all the effects, like the side effects of what's going to happen to him when he starts getting treatment, the throwing up, the hair loss, all the shit. Apparently they just cut right to him, and they deleted the scene, but they cut right to him masturbating. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was what he wrote originally. That's what he said in the commentary. Was that, he hears all this shit and then he's just like, and then he goes and he jerks off and then the stall. And so that's what? Yeah. Yeah, that was what he wrote in. I'll show you the commentary. Yeah, we'll do it right after this. But yeah, so he's like, so you'll never watch it the same because it makes perfect sense. Who pukes standing up, right? Anyone that ever pukes is at least bent down. Like you're not gonna puke standing straight up into the toilet, right? So they edit in the sounds, but it's in. And you'll see it and you go like, oh yeah, that actually doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. It's great.
That is.
So you'll never see that scene again. It's obvious to see it when you know what it is. Jesse was going to be killed at the end of this season. Vince said his idea was to get everybody connected to him.
I remember hearing that. I remember reading that somewhere.
The second time we talked about the wig thing. Filmed him shaving his head, and then the last note from there was Tuco putting the cigarette out on his tongue was unscripted. Unscripted.
Damn, this motherfucker's just crazy.
Yeah. All right, so opening scene is awesome of episode 6. Walt's going, no more bloodshed, and then giving you the glimpse of later in the episode everything's different. Head shaved. He's the one on the streets. He's saying, I don't want anything to do with the streets. No more bloodshed, any of this. Walt's the one, bloody nose, got a sack of money walking down the street. You don't know what the fuck just happened. I love the way they do these scenes.
You ever notice this is one of those shows that, like, I know I can't be the only one thinking, is it seems so much longer than an hour. Like, they pack so much in the 43 minutes of that show. Mm-hmm. That it seems like it's longer than an hour. So when you think back, like, oh yeah, I remember this happened in this episode, and you're like, oh wait, this happened in that episode too. God, there's so much.
It is crazy because a lot of this shit, I was like oh, so much more happened in season 1 than I thought.
Yeah.
You know, because it's been a while, and I'm watching season 1, and I go, whoa, wait, Tuco already? Like, I forgot how much happened, you know? For whatever reason, the way I remembered it was just like, oh, Walt has cancer. Oh, he tried to cook. Oh, Crazy 8. Oh, but like, then I was like, oh.
Shit.
The
So
Tuco
much.
already? Oh, fuck, you know?
Did you catch in the opening scene, or not the opening scene, but the first opening act where he's in the classroom teaching, he's talking about explosives? How that's kind of like a forward call to the end of the episode?
Yeah, he's talking about the mercury fulminate. I can't remember what the fuck it is. I'm probably saying it wrong and I sound like an idiot, but it's fine. Because I don't think it had an S in it. Fulminate mercury, I think. Anyway.
I'm sure we'll figure it out, maybe. Probably not. Are you going to be a chemist?
Yeah.
Chemistry teacher?
Duh. Yeah, fulminate mercury. Yeah, they put that as the thing he's teaching about in the beginning, and then that's what he uses in the end of the episode to blow up Tuco's place, get his money. So, and as I said earlier, this is when I said, Walt always towing the line. I feel like he justifies his lies by sprinkling in little bits of truth. Nature is indeed what he sees when they cook. That's what he's talking about in the group therapy session. He was, I like going on walks. I like to see the nature, you know, and of course they show the nature and then the RV smoking because they're making meth.
So, I pulled up this episode on Netflix.
Yeah.
And because the whole fucking bathroom scene now it had me perplexed. I was like,
Yeah.
So I noticed that when it cuts to the scene of like right before, like when he's kind of standing up,
Yeah.
and it's like the full, like you can see the stall wall and you see him standing there. If you look at the shadow, you can see hand movements.
Yeah. Huh?
I didn't like. You can see.
That's what I say. You watch it close enough.
You can see the fucking hand movements.
You watch it close enough, it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why is he puking like that? And then, yeah, you watch close enough, you see shadows. Yeah, it's a whole thing, man.
That is something.
It is correct.
That is. I don't.
Straight from Vince Gilligan.
I don't think when I'm told I have cancer, my first reaction I'm gonna go jerk off in the bathroom.
No. It wasn't when he's told he has cancer. It was like the stress relief of like, I gotta do something. Because
I still.
he was telling him all the side effects of what's gonna happen with the chemo.
Oh, with the chemo, yeah.
Yeah. That's when he went and masturbated after the treatment doctor, the oncologist, was like, you're gonna lose your hair. You know, the side effects could be, you know, appetite loss, hair loss, all that shit, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's my first reaction is to go to the bathroom and
Well,
jerk off. I mean,
that might be why he deleted the scene.
There's a lot of reasons I'll go into a public bathroom and jerk off, but talking about chemo is not one of them.
Well, until you, until you're there.
I've been there.
Well, yeah, but you personally, you know what I mean? Like,
No. I've been there jerking off in a public restroom, but like.
I mean, I could see it. I mean, you know, I masturbate at the drop of a hat. You know what I mean? Like, if something stresses me out, you know, like that, you know, some big shit, I might just panic. Oh no, I have to masturbate. Drop your hat.
Drop my hat. This will be on our exclusive channel.
Yeah. So anyhow.
Anywho.
Walt very uncomfortable in the Hank scene when he's being questioned. You know, he thought of everything. He didn't. Walt's not used to being outsmarted, not used to missing to his own shortcomings, missteps, that kind of thing. All right, so Skinny Pete said, you know, because Walt's telling Jesse he needs to grow a set of balls, talk to a supplier like Tuco, you know, sell more. Jesse's buddy Skinny Pete had a connection with Tuco when they were in jail. And so they go see Tuco. Skinny Pete's Jesse's in. There's a couple things about the scene. Obviously, Tuco's fucking insane.
Yeah.
beats the shit out of Jesse with that money bag when he's like, no, I don't, like, this isn't how the operation works. Cash for meth, you know? And he's like, no, fucking leave. I'll give you the money later. Which is fucked up, but it's also the drug trade, so.
You think he would actually give him the money? No.
If Walt didn't come in there like a fucking psycho, yeah.
Tuco would have just had free meth.
Yeah.
100% profit.
Yeah, I don't think Jesse would have ever seen any of that money.
No. Not at all.
Of course, the quote from Tuco. He kicks like a mule with his balls wrapped in duct tape.
I really hope that in reality that line was improvised. I really hope that line was just improvised. Because, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great line. It'd be a t-shirt.
Yeah. Tuco, just that whole scene, they said it so well. I love how the safe is just kind of
Open.
open.
Yeah.
Whatever. Again here, he gets beat up with the money. You feel bad for Jesse, but a little not, you know? Because in the back of your head, you're like, well, you don't have to be here. You know? We've seen what your life could have been. But now, you know, hindsight's 20/20, right?
Oh, it's
Can't look at the past.
It's 2022.
Got me there. Hugo gets arrested. Is he a necessary casualty? What would you have done there? Are you coming clean? Are you doing something? Or you just gotta go, hey, some people gotta pay for my actions.
Guess he just, he was the unlucky winner.
Necessary casualty.
Even though he kind of helped me out in the bathroom multiple times.
Yeah. Interesting how some of these weed conversations age. You know, like weed now, like not that big a deal. They're all like really looking down on Hugo.
How was there not a background check? He had weed in his car, in his apartment. Who are you letting in this school?
Yeah, a pothead. It's like, Jesus Christ, like half the people I know are fucking potheads. It's like me, what?
How dare you let those people in your house?
Right. Skinny Pete quote. He's talking to Walt in the hospital. I was all like, damn, Tuco, chill, S.A. I don't know what got into him. This is my commentary. Meth. Meth got into him. Just saying. Is it too happy a coincidence that fulminated mercury was the lesson a few days ago in class? We all know what happens. Walt goes and blows up the place, gets the money for the meth, uses fulminated mercury. Oh, fulminated mercury! I wrote it in the notes, so that's what it was.
Read a little farther down, you would have found it.
Yeah.
You'd have to start.
That's
start highlighting stuff.
Yeah. Oh no, yellow highlighter, yellow legal pad. That's not gonna work. So the car scene after the meeting with Tuco. Another character shift. He's taking another step. You know, that was a slightly homicidal move. You know, could have killed some people. Instead, he just showed he wasn't. You know, he showed he wasn't fucking around. But he's that primal scream in the car, like a release of tension. And
also, kind of risky as well. Like bag of money.
So risky.
Bag of money in that car with the people that are around that building. Like easily come up and be like, shit. Let's get this white boy.
But when you walk out of that building, you have the bloody nose, you have the bag of money, and people know you prevailed with whatever went on up there. You know? Everybody, you know, and then, you know, fire trucks should come. The authorities will be there. You know? And so, I think they all kind of know, all right, let's, it's time to get out of here. You know?
Could you? So, one thing that I thought of was, so when Jesse first went to go meet Tuco, you know, he opened up the fucking bag of meth and he fucking crushed that rock.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, sniffed it and had Jesse snort it. Could you imagine when Walt got there if he did the same thing? puts that rock on the table and says,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like if I'm Jesse, it's not only that I don't want to snort any meth because it seems like Jesse's been kind of staying away from it and whatnot, but also I don't want to sniff meth off this knife that this psycho's holding. Like, what if he just decides he's gonna stab me? I don't know. That's what made me more nervous. And the meth part. I'd be pretty nervous to snort meth. I'm not gonna lie. But even
less
more
nervous about the meth, more nervous about the knife.
Probably equal parts about both. If I'm honest. Yeah, that knife.
If you had to
really
pick
freaked me out.
one over the other, which would you do?
Well, I think either scenario I still have to snort meth. So, are you saying would I rather get stabbed in the nose or snort meth?
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that.
I don't know. Is it like heroin? Like one hit and I'm gone?
If you're weak-willed, probably. I mean, I don't know. I've never done anything more
Hey,
extensive.
addiction's a disease.
I've never done anything more strong-willed or more, anything above fucking weed.
I haven't even done that, so I don't know. Maybe I'd just die. It's like you haven't done anything. My system just be shocked. I just die right on the spot. Alright, so we begin episode 7. But anyway, and episode 6. I think that's another shift in Walt. And
Well, yeah. He
it
turns
is,
that's where he basically becomes Heisenberg.
yes. And it continues, because you see it continue in beginning of episode 7. They're at this meeting about, meth equal... What the fuck did that sign say? Meth equals death or some shit like that?
Yeah.
They're talking at the school. They're having, one of these official meetings, and all those meetings are fucking...
Stupid.
Just jerk off meetings at a certain point, but the change in Walt, continues. He's sitting there trying to finger Skylar in the meeting.
I would like to point out that scene, though. So, like, when they kept on panning to under the table, all he was doing was rubbing her leg.
Well, I think we can only show so much on.
Yeah, well, like, I mean,
TV.
you could at least do, like, maybe, like, make it, like, realistic. Like, like, his hand is a little bit... Like, it just looks like he's just rubbing her thigh. And she's like, oh, my God, that feels so... Oh, I'm about to come from you rubbing my thigh. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't know how sensitive women's thighs are.
I think it was implied, not to get too graphic here, that he was like,
maybe
kind of like through the underwear,
maybe. I mean,
kind of doing stuff because like you don't see like this part of his hand. So maybe, granted, I don't know about fingering with a pinky.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of weird, but
yeah, and the pinky's small too. So like, I mean, what are you really doing with that? Plus, you don't have like full control over your pinky. I
said, I think there's only so much they can show.
There was some plot in her panties.
There was some plot in her panties. Yeah, you're right. One of those plot vibrators.
Panties was wet with plot.
Oh,
Oh,
so hot.
oh yeah. She
Hot,
wasn't.
wet
She
plot
wasn't.
panties.
She wasn't being a bitch then.
So
Would you? Would you ever do that?
no, I would do my best not to finger in public, especially if you think about the viewpoint of all the other.
Yeah, like there's a table
room.
there's a table like this.
Yeah, I mean, like, and, they have like the tables double stacked, so like there were people far away, but still, you're gonna notice if the lady across the table, and of course Walt's making goofy faces because he's like,
Yeah, and she's all like,
and you're like, all right, people are gonna see you, dude. Like, and they're all looking. They're like, Walt, what? And they're both like, So it's just kind of funny. And then Walt's got to walk out of there with a tent in his pants, Anyway.
just a fuck in the back of his Pontiac Aztek.
And then the fuck in the back of the Aztec.
Next to the cop car.
Next to the cop car. And then she's like, where did that come from? Why would it feel so good? And then Walt, because it was
It's
illegal.
illegal.
He likes to do bad stuff now. Walt's a bad guy now.
Which is true. Everything that's fun is normally illegal.
Yeah, I guess so. So he goes and meets up with Jesse. Jesse is stowed away in RV. He's trying to sell his house. Another quote. I had two dudes turn a raspberry slushy and flush down my toilet. Can't even take a proper dump in there. And he tells Jesse he made the deal with Tuco. He's like, "Are you crazy?" And then he tells him all the logistical problems of why this was such a bad idea that he made this deal with Tuco. And Walt's kind of like, "Oh, well, that's unfortunate." And of course, so then the next scene. I don't know if it's the next scene, but it's the next relevant scene in these notes. So that's where we're going. Is they're in they're in a dump.
Oh, junkyard.
Junkyard, yeah.
Junkyard.
I don't know, that word was escaping me. It's like the dump for cars.
You know where cars go to die,
Yeah.
which is what Walt is going to do.
A graveyard, but not, kind of for, like, vehicles. Yeah. I lost it. And he's like, they're talking about meeting places. He's like, this is so the non-criminal idea of where to do a drug deal. He's like, well, where would you have done it? And he's like, I don't remember the name of the restaurant he was talking about. But he was like, Taco Cabeza. There we go. He's like, Taco Cabeza. It's like, hell, half the deals I've ever done were at Taco Cabeza. He's like, no one gets shot. No one dies. He's like, or the mall. Then we go to the mall. We wait in the Gap. Look at the khakis. Oh, put the khakis down. Time for the drug deal. And then, of course, first thing Tuco says when he comes up, hey, what are we doing way the hell out here? What, they closed the mall or something? And then just the way Jesse looks at Walt after that. Because, he just got done telling him, how stupid he was. And Walt's kind of like, okay. And he's like, yeah, see? And this is quite the scene. And, again, Walt has changed. He's got balls now. Doesn't back down. He's short on product. And he's still like, give me the fucking money. Like, can you handle 4 pounds? It's the hole. It's like, wow, man, you're digging yourself a hole. And you think he is. But he's got a solution. And this comes to probably the most memeable quote of the whole show. They're sitting in Jesse's kitchen. And he's like, what are you working on? And he's like, yeah, I got a plan. And he's talking about, what he's going to do with methylene and all this. And Jesse, yeah, Mr. White! Yeah, science!
So in that scene where when they're at the junkyard, when one of Tuco's men was what did he say? He said
To remember who you're working for.
He said remember who you're working for.
Which is the end of the episode, but yeah.
Is that the end of the episode?
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck!
And it's because it's crazy because that's how they end the season.
I thought that happened earlier in the episode.
No, because it's how they end the episode. Because then, if you remember, spoilers. But when they come back in season 2, because they get in the car because they're just left standing there because they drive Tuco loads beat up dude into the SUV and drives away, and they're just kind of left standing there. End right, and then when we open up on season 2, Walt and Jesse get they drive away. The whole beat up thing happens. They replay everything just so you remember, right? So they show him getting beat up again. Just remember who you're working for, all that shit. Loads him up in the SUV. SUV drives away. They sit in the car. Walt does the math. Just for inflation. Does all the mental math, and then they start driving away. And then the SUV comes, storming back, and stop. They're head on, and they both slam on the brakes, right? And then Tuco's like, "You're smart, do something," or whatever the fuck he says. He's telling him he's fucking dying, and Tuco's calling the guy a bitch. He's like, "What? You can't take a fucking ass beating?" Whatever the hell he was, And so that's how season 2 begins. And then when I was watching season 2, man, anyway,
2-2.
When I was watching season 2, I forgot, It's like within the first or second episode of season 2 that the whole Tuco kidnapping him thing happens. I was like, fuck, like, you know, you just, I was like, man, so much so soon.
So much shit just happens so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, the memeable scene gives Jesse the pep talk, or, you know, yeah, Mr. White, he has science. And then Walt gives Jesse the pep talk. And now, see, like, Walt wasn't even, I don't think, sincere here. You know, Walt is, you know, first of all, this is a speech he never would have given, you know, a few weeks ago. If you think of the timeline of all this, right? You know, this is probably like a month and a half at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the first episode takes place over 3 weeks. So, yeah, anyway. Right now, he's just manipulating Jesse. You know, he gives him this big pep talk because he's like, I want you to do what I want you to do. And, yeah, so, just manipulation at this point. It's really the Heisenberg, you know, getting into the psycho behavior, I guess, if you will, you know, as he's getting deeper and deeper into this other side of himself, right? Baby shower, Walter Jr. films boobs. It's funny. It's kind of funny. Hank knows immediately that tiara that Marie gives Skylar is stolen. Like you can see it. Like you can see, like, you know, Skylar's like, she's like, oh, you shouldn't have bought this. It's so expensive. And you know, you tell him, like, obviously hindsight is awesome. The best advantage when you're going back and watching stuff, but you know, just the whole Marie going, oh, no, like it's literally what she's like, the dramatic, like, no. And you can tell, like, Hank's, like, kind of squirming. He's like, oh, God, she fucking stole it. Like, you know, and we find out, you know, they go into it in season 2, like, Marie's got a stealing problem. And that's when, you know, Hank's like, hey, got anything stronger? And, you know, him and Walt go outside, have drinks. You know, and talk about, you know, the lines we draw with the law. You know, talking about prohibition back in the day and how, you know, we'd go to jail for drinking this stuff. You know, back in the 40s. When was prohibition? 30?
20s.
20s? Okay.
20s.
And so, that's just interesting. Because one of the best dynamics of the show is the fact that Walt is always dancing with the devil. His brother is a fucking DEA agent. And Hank is literally after him for most of the show and has no fucking idea. And in both cases, like, you know, Hank is Walt's devil and, you know, vice versa. You know, in each of their respective situations, right? So it's just makes for great television. Fantastic. So yeah, there's that. And then whose side here on the tiara? How do you say that fucking word? Tiara, I think. Yeah.
Tiara.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the tiara argument. Like, if I'm Sky, I'm giving up my bitchy sister Marie. You know, when I get arrested, or not arrested, when I get reprimanded in that store. Well, who got it for you? My sister Marie. Like, I'm giving that bitch up immediately. Fuck that. Fuck her for putting me in this situation. But what do you think there? I mean, you know, should Skylar not have done it? You know, as far as taking it back in the first place, you know, obviously Marie didn't think it'd be a problem. Like, what do you think there? I mean,
I don't think she should have took it back, but she could have sold it because, I mean, you take something back, I mean, it's a gamble whether or not if you're actually just going to get cash back or if they're going to be like, I need the card.
store credit, maybe.
Store credit or...
Yeah.
I'd rather I'd sell it online. She's already selling all the other shit online. Just sell it online too.
That's true.
I think that would have been the smarter way to do it.
Yeah.
You said you go back to the store, you're like, I'd like to return this. They're like, okay, well, we're going to... Say she did buy it. Okay, we're going to credit $1,400 back to the American Express. Click. Okay, great. Now I just got my sister $1,000.
Yeah. Now I gotta go try.
Ask her for $1,000.
Do you think? Yeah.
I think I can have that. Makes it worse. It's a credit card, so it's not like you can go to the bank and pull money out.
Yeah.
She could have been working to pay that down for a couple months first. Now you got to take fucking 5 payments of $39.99 from your sister.
Yeah. 5 easy payments.
5 easy payments, which $39.99 times 5 definitely does not equal $1,000. My math is way off, but yeah, math was not my strong suit. Neither was chemistry, which is why I don't cook meth. Yet.
But yeah, Skylar definitely Karen'd her way out of that
She said,
situation. Yeah, the hyperventilating. I was like,
I'm going to labor, I'm going into labor.
They're just like, whatever, we don't want any part of this. I just love when she's like, this dingy back room. And he's like, this is my office. And so then we come back to Walt. You know, Skylar's facing very, like, mild problems when we, you know, go over to Walt, who's breaking into this place and, you know, stealing shit. I love when they're putting the masks on before they go in there. He's like, you know, Jesse's like, oh, what is this? You know, the little masks. And he's like, this is all they had. He's like, and then the quote is, if this is all they had, you go to another store, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like, just put them on. They
That's
go through the
That's a good
fence.
one.
They go through the fence. They lock the guy in the porta potty. It is hilarious to me that between the two of them, neither of them thought to roll that fucking barrel. They're just fucking like scoot walking with the fucking carrying the goddamn like 55-gallon barrel. Just ridiculous. And then, you know, just kind of rolling through the rest of the episode. I mean, we know what happens in the end. We kind of talked about that. But stakes are just always so high in this show. Like the making meth in the basement of an open house. Just a fucking crazy situation.
People walking around like...
That fucking realtor's like... just like... kind of spraying shit. Just always smiling. That fucking realtor lady. That was great. Yeah.
I just want to see the basement.
You ain't seeing the basement, bitch!
She's occupied. It's not a bathroom.
Yeah, and then he's just like, house not for sale. Makes everybody get out. That was fun.
Realtor's like...
Just lost a sale. It's like, well, if you kept your phone in your pocket. Whatever. Yeah, so then Walt comes home. She smells meth lab on him. And he's like, oh, it's the Indian herbs. Because his excuse that weekend was sweat lodge. Now, my thing was, just, it's very suspicious that, you know, Skylar, it's almost stupid that Skylar wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'll come with you. And then, that was the first thing I thought when he suggested the sweat lodge. You know, is he's trying to look for an excuse to just be gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. I just thought that would have been the logic, you know, if they want more conflict. He's like, oh, well, it's one guest only, and, you know, watch him lie his way through that. I don't know. It didn't happen. But if she stays home, she's got nothing but time. You know what I mean? She's the stay-at-home person. It's just kind of goofy to me.
Must be nice.
I know, right? Yeah, and then, you know, they're talking. She's all mad about the Marie situation, and Walt's kind of testing the waters. He's like, "Oh, what if it was me?" She's like, "What?" It's like, you know, people do things for their family. What if it was me? You know, stealing, and she's fucking Skylar.
Fucking Skylar. Fuck Skylar.
She's like, you don't want to know. I'm like, okay.
Then I was also kind of like, does that mean she's gonna fuck him?
Yeah,
it's like that's a very like not like
was
a
it
threat.
a you don't want to know, or was it a you don't want to know?
Like it seemed more of like a You don't want to know. Like a sexual, like,
Yeah.
you know, like if I find out you're stealing, I'm going to fuck your brains out.
Because that's hot.
Because that turns me on.
I like it when you steal. Just not when my sister steals.
It does not make you want to fuck my sister.
You sure? Positive. Okay.
Positive.
Gotcha. And then obviously Tuco Power Move beats the shit out of his guy. Remember who you working for? Just that whole situation where
he said, "You calling me
backpedal.
stupid?" So you're calling them stupid?
It's like they know.
They know who they're working for.
I'm just telling them remember who they're working for. He's like, Tuco, let's all
Just relax.
relax.
Oh, Heisenberg said
Heisenberg
relax.
wants to relax. I'm relaxed. Fucking. Obviously,
and then
showing power, right?
Yeah, and then you have the moment like Walt goes like kind of like walk towards like he's gonna try and intervene, and fucking the bigger bodyguard dude is like,
Yeah,
he's like, no.
the fact that big dude's like scared of Tuco, like that just shows how fucking crazy
like,
Tuco is.
I love that facial expression. He just stuck his hand. He's like,
Yeah,
no, like really no,
Yeah,
no, you don't want to do that.
yeah.
And yeah, he sold that facial expression because it wasn't like a bodyguard. Like, no, you're not fucking going over there. It was like I'm scared.
It's not for his. It's not for. It's like let's not.
Let's
just hope they both explode or something. Because I'm uncomfortable.
Let's let them handle that. If we stay over here, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good over here. Over there is not good.
Yeah.
Good, not good.
Good, not good. You see the difference?
We're gonna stay here where it's good.
I like it good. And then just what a way to end the season. That's how they ended. You hear whatever? There's a couple deleted scenes. Most of them kind of suck, but you hear about deleted scenes.
Let's hear about some deleted seats then.
Episodes 1 through 3. This kind of sucks, but Walt gives a speech at his birthday party. He's counting days, hours, minutes, months, all that shit, right? A very Walt, smart person response. And then they start hearing sirens outside, and Hank and his boys just make an entrance. They pull up to the house and DEA cars and sirens and shit. And then, so, they just make an entrance after Walt gives the little speech adding up all the days, hours, minutes, seconds, yada yada, of being 50. Walter Jr. This one's fucking dumb. The fact, like, when you hear about some of the deleted scenes where they're talking about, like, Walt masturbating in a scene, like, and then, this deleted scene they put in there. Because, like, I know there's more deleted scenes. Like, I know there's better scenes. And then Walt Jr. just walks in the room, in the baby room, and he's like, or what will be the baby room, I guess. Because Walt's taking his, like, plaques off the wall, the Nobel Prize thing. And he's like, can I help you, Dad? He's like, yeah, sure, you want to pull some nails? And then Walt just kind of watches Walter Jr. pull a nail or two out of the wall. And that's the whole deleted scene, so it's terrible. It's like, you put that on the DVD? And then there's the extended version of Walt showing Jesse all the supplies he got when they're, when they just go into, Walt didn't get enough supplies, like, as far as, like, the stuff they used to cook. They only let me buy so much cold medicine. He's like, yeah, there's, like, fucking, you can get enough of this, you can get enough of this, and so, not real significant. They obviously cut that for time. It would have fit if they, had the time, but
they ran out of it.
Yeah. And then the episode 4 through 6 deleted scene is it's just the first one's just stupid. It's just more Walt and Skylar arriving at Elliot's party, and then it's out in the desert with Jesse and Badger cooking. Like, it's just more Badger outside the trailer fucking around with his arrows. And he shoots one in the air, and then Jesse's like, Badger! And then he walks in, and then they never show the arrow come down. And so, it's just kind of, it's all kind of bullshit. And then, I think next episode, 7 deleted scene. Yeah, here we are. 2 deleted scenes for episode 7. And they're actually kind of funny. So it kind of sucks that they didn't stay in. But it's the realtor lady showing the house. And, the woman of the first couple that walks through. She opens a cabinet and it's dirty dishes in the cabinet and there's like food on the plates and she's just like, ugh. And then the other one is when Walt's giving Jesse the little pep talk there, giving him the shopping list, and Walt does even a little further coercing than the pep talk that's shown. And, like, puts his hands on his face and is like really talking him up. And so the realtor lady and another couple that she's walking through the house just walk in and see Walt with his hands on Jesse's face, and it's just like a still like, and the realtor lady's like, this is, don't mind us, this is the owner and his friend. That's the deleted scenes for episode 7, and that season 1 of Breaking Bad, more or less. Hope we didn't miss too much, but what did you want us to talk about every single minute of every single episode? I mean, did you want us to do every single episode? Why don't you tell us? ConsecratesHotlineYahoo.com.
You don't want to read dialogue?
No, I'm not just going to sit here and read dialogue.
Contact Vince Gilligan and get a copy of the script for each one of the episodes and just read the script.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I want to rate seasons. I don't know. Are you trying to rate seasons?
I think we do an overall series rate when we get to the end and have our final closing comments of the series on the last episode. Which, how far apart are we doing this? The season drops.
Oh, we're supposed to watch season 2 next week, buddy. You better get on it. No, I'm just
well, are we watching like half of season 2?
So my plan was to watch season 2. We'd kind of sit down, do everything, and then like this was over 2 hours, right? So
this might,
and this was just 7 episodes. I was thinking we sit down, record season 2, and it can be broken up into episode 1 through 7. So when we record, that's how I'm going to do my notes. Is episodes 1 through 7, and then episodes 8 through 13 as we get further. So I mean, we don't have to sit down all at the same time and do it. I mean, we can try it with season 2 just see how it goes.
Maybe we can get some extra bodies on the next podcast. Maybe
we'll see.
Maybe we won't have any call-offs.
Call-offs, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just hard, Harley's got a different schedule, and Charles kind of has the baby thing, and he's just kind of out, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't really seem to. He talks up having an interest of coming back, but I don't really know that it's there, and I get it. I mean, he's got a baby, so. I mean, we kind of knew this would happen. He denied it. Every time we brought it up, we were like, "We know you're gonna leave once you have the baby," and he was like, "No, I'm not." We were like, "Yeah, you are." I've known you for a long time, and I kind of know you.
We have high hopes to he'll be back.
Yeah,
at least part time.
It'd
Drop in for like we could do like a circle jerk, or since it's not weekly circle jerks, and just circle jerks because we've been kind of running, kind of stretched thin, and we haven't been able to get circle jerks in every single week, and by the time you actually hear in this episode, you would probably figure that out.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Life gets in the way,
Yeah, I mean,
it's just not possible. We're gonna do what we can when we can. I'd love to do more, like go see a movie, come back and react to it, as well as we're gonna get something out every week.
Yeah, I mean,
something will be out every week. I can guarantee you that.
Sometimes
even if I'm just sitting here, just talking into a mic.
Sometimes we
just listen to my boring ass voice.
We try and work on it now.
And this is why we do stuff ahead of time, because like you're gonna hear this. I believe the first Sunday of December. It's October 21st today.
Yeah, It's still October. We haven't got past Halloween yet.
Yeah, and we got some great stuff for Halloween. At least I'm hoping in store for you here soon. So, yeah, you're a first-time listener or viewer, and you just know, hey, there's some great Halloween stuff. So go back, to October. We had, the 2 Scream movies. We did Nightmare on Elm Street, and we did, Quentin Tarantino version of a slasher, the Death Proof, Planet Terror. It was Jason and I. Jason and I also did a Halloween series overview where we talked about all the Halloween, different timelines, remakes, everything. Kind of give you a brief overview of everything. Followed by, on Halloween, we went and saw Halloween Ends. And we talked about that. So, gave you the first reaction. And again, I'd love to do more pods like that. Where we just come back and talk about a movie afterward, a recent thing.
So if you're listening to this, when this drops in December, and you are not a Christmas person, you're one of those people who like Halloween more than Christmas, go back and listen to our Halloween stuff.
And if you're both, we'll have some Christmas stuff coming too. We'll do a Christmas movie on Christmas. Because Sundays, when our pods come out, falls on Christmas. And then we're going to do a New Year's movie on New Year's.
I thought we're doing a New Year's movie?
There's one called Diner. Although it's gone from HBO Max, so we might be fucked on that one. So I might have to find a new New Year's movie. Because we did one last year called 4 Rooms.
Let's do Die Hard.
We're going to do Die Hard 2 on Christmas because we did Die Hard last Christmas.
Let's do the first Die Hard again.
Yeah, that one I just yelled at Charles because he was like, yeah, I've seen... He's like, Die Hard, Die Hard, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I'll die on that hill. Die Hard's a Christmas movie. You haven't seen Die Hard, you should be beaten in the street. Or don't think Die Hard's a Christmas movie, you should be beaten in the street. And I was like, well, I don't think it's that extreme, I mean, Die Hard's just a movie, It could be a Christmas movie. You can watch it on Christmas, you can watch it whenever you want. He's like, no, it's a Christmas movie. Then, Charles shows up late, falls asleep while the movie's on.
Because I hadn't watched a movie full right. through, so we were watching it because I had never seen a movie full through.
Yeah, so we started it because he was like, I'm coming. And so I was like, okay, you've seen it before, so fuck it. Dakota and I start, Dakota hasn't seen it. Start in. Charles comes over, falls asleep, wakes up. Charles is one of the worst people to wake up, by the way. We get in the office, and, we're about to start recording. And he's like, I've never seen that movie. Yeah. And I just kind of looked at him, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just start recording. And so, you can go back and see what happens on Christmas last year.
Didn't you start off with like, Charles, would you like to repeat what you just said?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just remember just when he said, I don't think I've ever seen that one. He, you just heard the room just went.
Yeah. Time and time again.
Wasn't it? He was like. He was like, yeah. I think it was the second one I was thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if we can get him in here for Die Hard 2. Yeah. All right.
Yes. All right. We'll wrap this up.
I want you to view us here on YouTube.
What do you rate this podcast?
Channel. I rate this podcast 0 out of 10. Fuck these guys. I hate these hosts.
Do you hate him more than Skylar?
Yeah. That fucking curly-headed fuck over there with the Foo Fighters shirt on. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that curly-headed fuck.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. The other guy's cool.
Fuck that guy.
The other guy's cool.
No, he's not. Okay. Thank you for viewing. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Content Crisis YouTube channel. You can guess where you get your podcasts. Content Crisis 1 on Twitter. Email us. ContentCrisisHotline@yahoo.com. Fucking tell us what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right. We'd love to hear from you. Inquiries, what should we watch next, that kind of shit. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep making all the decisions, and Dakota's just going to keep hating me, so.
I'll hate him regardless, so it's okay.
That's fair.
Hey-yo.
Thanks, guys.